China's unemployment rate reaches new peak. Recruitment app temporarily crashes. Recording pen found under chair during lawyer's visit to client in Hebei Detention Center. Mainland Lawyer Chinese Society regresses under CCP's harmful system. Alibaba discloses state ownership holding golden shares in more than 12 business units. U.S. launches unprecedented probe into national security risks posed by Chinese cars. It's all covered in today's China Truths. China's unemployment rate reaches new peak. Recruitment app temporarily crashes. On February 28, Xiaoping Recruitment, one of the leading online recruitment platforms in China, stated that it was overloaded and crashed briefly because of the unprecedented traffic. That same day, numerous users reported issues accessing the Xiaoping Recruitment app, with a notification stating the system is busy, please try again later. This quickly became a trending topic on Weibo, with people suggesting this means China's unemployment rate has reached a new peak. A lot of folks online made light of the situation with comments like, "Are so many people looking for jobs? Is it the kids who didn't make it into grad school now job hunting, or those who quit their jobs before the new year starting to look?" Or someone said, "I'm out of dreams at this point, but hey, gotta keep on living." Also, on that day, too many postgraduates, not enough dorms was another hot topic on Weibo, underscoring the severe unemployment issue in China. There were numerous reports online that, following the Chinese New Year holiday, a sudden surge in layoffs and business shutdowns hit companies across the mainland. Many people shared that they were laid off or found out about their company closing down and the bosses absconding on their first day back at work after the holidays. On September 15 of the previous year, the Boss Direct hiring system also experienced a temporary breakdown. Someone claiming to be Guo Hong from Boss Direct Hiring mentioned online that at 10:15 and 26 seconds a.m. on September 15, the platform had over 47 million people online at once, leading to server overload and ongoing maintenance. The revelation quickly went viral. That evening, Boss Direct Hiring addressed the rumors, confirming the server crash was real, but the reported figures were inaccurate. According to reports from mainland media, this was the third time Boss Direct Hiring crashed in 2023, with previous incidents on May 24 and July 6. Recording pen found under chair during lawyer's visit to client in Hebei Detention Center. On February 28, in a startling incident at a Hebei detention center, a recording pen fell from beneath a chair during a meeting between two attorneys and their client, sparking outrage across China's legal community. In detail, attorney Zhu Xiaoding revealed on Weibo that during a February 28 visit to the Huanghua City Detention Center in Hebei with attorney Liao Baozhong to see Hu Yannan, a client involved in a contract fraud case. Mid-meeting, a recording pen dropped from underneath the chair Hu was sitting on, flashing as it hit the floor. Upon inspection, they realized it was actively recording their entire conversation. Zhu also shared that Hu had been facing ongoing harassment while detained, with police ominously stating that every move of Hu and her attorneys was under constant surveillance. Zhu also disclosed that the case involved more than 380 million yuan, about $52.8 million. The court in Sangzhou, Hebei, was neither the crime scene court nor the defendant's home court but merely the court of the victim's locale. Both the defendant and her attorneys objected to the jurisdiction at the Sangzhou Intermediate Court, arguing that the Sangzhou police lacked jurisdiction and were using criminal means to intervene in economic disputes, protecting local businesses, and calling for a jurisdiction change. The incident sparked intense reactions among the legal community on the mainland, with numerous attorneys uploading articles or videos to express their criticism and denounce the police's overtly unlawful behavior. A Weibo user critiqued in a video that the situation was egregious, outright violating the explicit regulations of the criminal procedure law and the lawyer's law on the non-surveillance of attorney-client meetings. This incident is of nuclear proportions within the legal field, and if not properly addressed, it threatens to destabilize the legal profession's very foundation. Plainly speaking, the laws are clear: Article 39 of the Criminal Procedure Law and Article 33 of the Lawyers' Law explicitly protect attorney-client meetings from any form of eavesdropping. This principle is so fundamental, anyone in the justice system should know it by heart. The core of the matter is the trust and confidentiality between clients and their lawyers. If every word can be overheard by investigators, how can clients feel secure enough to speak openly? How can lawyers provide candid, effective counsel if they're constantly looking over their shoulders? The essence of a fair defense is at risk, highlighting a critical flaw in the system that, if unaddressed, could undermine the effectiveness and trust in legal defenses altogether. Comments on Weibo blasted the situation as complete lawlessness. By February 29, a reporter from NTD Television found that Attorney Zhu's shoutings-related Weibo posts had been scrubbed, and access to other lawyers' commentary on the matter was blocked. Back on December 11, 2017, the CCP's Ministry of Justice rolled out regulations insisting that police weren't allowed to spy on meetings between defense lawyers and those in detention. At that time, a lot of folks in the legal community called it out as just another CCP ploy to fool people. For ages, the CCP has been rolling out laws that sound great on paper, tricking both folks at home and abroad, while its law enforcement, prosecutorial, and judicial arms blatantly ignore these so-called laws, misusing their power. This was especially clear after the 709 lawyer crackdown in 2015, which sent shockwaves around the world and peeled back the curtain on what the CCP's version of rule of law really looks like. The 709 crackdown refers to a widespread campaign of arrests that began on July 9, 2015, targeting lawyers, legal assistants, and human rights activists across China. This operation marked an unprecedented effort by the Chinese Communist Party to clamp down on the legal activism and human rights advocacy that had been growing within the country. The date 709 comes from the month and day when the crackdown began, July 9. Mainland Lawyer Chinese Society regresses under CCP's harmful system. China's legal and economic landscape has recently taken a hit, not just from COVID-19 but from inherent flaws in the CCP's governance. This downturn is marked by judicial backsliding and economic challenges. On February 27, the Supreme People's Court launched the People's Court Case Database, a significant pivot from the previous practice of freely sharing judicial decisions online. Now, rather than providing comprehensive access to over 100 million documents, they're hand-picking just a few thousand cases for display, signaling a major shift in transparency. Lawyer Wu from mainland China told Epoch Times that this is indicative of a broader regression, erasing the strides made in reform. The removal of the Judgment Document website, which aimed to democratize access to court rulings, stands as a key example of this backslide. For example, entrepreneurs like Ma Yijiai and Guizhou face their own battles, struggling for 8 years to get paid for government projects, only to be detained under dubious charges of picking quarrels and provoking trouble. Before her, more than 10 individuals, including her lawyers and legal assistants, were detained on similar charges, accused of sharing debt and litigation information on social media platforms like Weibo and TikTok. Wu explained that the official line is that she was stirring up trouble online, which is just an excuse. It's a distortion of legal and judicial principles. Back in 2013 and 2014, lawyers sharing information about their cases online, even talking to international media, wasn't a problem. But then, the Ministry of Justice cracked down on lawyers sharing trial details, and the National Lawyers Association banned case hype. Wu believes this legal backslide is hitting the economy hard. During the pandemic, local governments boldly imposed lockdowns without legal backing, enforcing strict and unfounded restrictions reminiscent of the Cultural Revolution's tactics, signifying a surge in governmental power. The situation in Guizhou, where financial commitments to government projects led to detention, erodes societal trust and economic vitality. The fear of unwarranted legal action stifles domestic and foreign investment as the risk of engagement becomes too high. The government's financial woes and the reluctance of private capital to invest compound these issues, suggesting a grim outlook for economic and legal integrity in China. As private capital withdraws, hoping to minimize involvement, the future of entrepreneurial engagement and economic innovation hangs in the balance. Local governments are drowning in debt, and the ship will eventually sink. The case in Guizhou highlights the dire state of local finances, bogged down by debt. Court documents reveal billions in confirmed debts, with businesses estimating even more owed, totaling around 220 million yuan, about $30.57 million. Before Ma Yijiai's arrest, the local government tried to settle all debts with just 12 million yuan, about $1.67 million, an offer she and her lawyers flatly rejected. This incident points to the broader issue. Lawyer Wu pointed out, Guizhou's just one example where local coffers are empty, spending's out of control, and debts through the roof, making it one of the first to face a financial meltdown. Kunming's in a similar boat. Guangzhou might be slightly better, but it's on the same path. Lower tax and land revenues mean it's bound to face the same fate, including the real estate sector. There's a misconception that big cities can survive due to high property prices and that price drops will hit smaller cities first. But when the ship sinks, it starts from the bottom. Eventually, the whole structure goes down. Some places are managing for now, but with China's economy taking hits, they're all headed downward. Wu pointed out key differences between China's economic challenges and Japan's lost decades. While Japan's advanced economy and high welfare system cushioned the blow of its economic stagnation, China, with its gaps in healthcare and social welfare, is hit much harder. Japan saw some benefits from investing in infrastructure through debt, something China's extensive infrastructure efforts can't replicate now for additional economic boosts. Moreover, Japan's robust export-driven manufacturing sector contrasts sharply with China's, which is struggling, particularly in the low-end market and after pulling away from international trade. This sets China's economic predicament apart, making it a unique and worrying scenario. Wu expressed deep concern over China's ongoing economic decline. He also attributes China's economic downturn to systemic and political causes. Past slow reforms had issues but consumed a lot of energy for a long time. Now, political shifts are rapidly reversing progress. The last decade's political backslide, turning away from reform and opening up to return to isolation, spells major trouble for China's economy and society. Alibaba discloses state ownership holding golden shares in more than 12 business units. Over the weekend, Alibaba revealed in filings in the United States and Hong Kong that Chinese state-owned enterprises, SOEs, and foreign sovereign wealth funds own parts of its stakes in over a dozen entities. This disclosure, prompted by an inquiry from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, sheds light on the broader control the Chinese communist regime exerts over Alibaba, particularly through golden shares that allow the regime significant influence over this and other private Chinese tech companies. The filings show that SOEs hold shares in 6 of Alibaba's direct sales businesses, contributing to less than 6% of Alibaba's total revenue for the fiscal year ending March 2023. Most of these holdings are minor, with 5 entities having less than a 10% share and 1 with less than 30%. These stakes extend to Alibaba's ventures in sports, health, logistics, and local consumer services, though the specific entities weren't named in the filings. This move comes as Chinese Communist Party leader Xi Jinping emphasizes the need for centralized control over scientific and technological development, hinting at a continued tightening grip on Chinese tech firms. The spotlight on golden shares reveals Beijing's strategy to wield control over leading private tech companies like Alibaba and Tencent. This approach, adopted in 2023, allows the government, through state-backed entities, to hold about 1% of a firm's shares. This stake, though seemingly minimal, grants the CCP power to nominate directors and influence crucial decisions, marking a new form of joint state-private ownership. This method echoes the joint state-private ownership system initiated in 1956, aimed at nationalizing private industries. However, today's strategy, as described by Taiwanese macroeconomist Henry Wu, is subtler. It doesn't involve direct SOE involvement in various fields but rather a strategic holding of golden shares in private enterprises, allowing for indirect control by Beijing. Wu notes that while the full impact of this approach remains to be seen, it's likely to dampen private enterprises' enthusiasm for innovation and investment. The side effects, he warns, could be detrimental to the vitality of China's private sector. Wang Guichen of the Tsinghua Institution for Economic Research in Taiwan echoed these concerns, suggesting that Beijing's increased control via golden stocks raises alarms among foreign and private businesses about the Chinese market's future. This tightening control may spur greater apprehension and reevaluation of investment strategies by international and domestic private enterprises alike. Dance with shackles on. Jack Ma has been targeted and his businesses have faced pressure the past few years. His experience has become the epitome of the fate of Chinese private entrepreneurs. According to Wang Guichen, private entrepreneurs like Jack Ma are now working while wearing shackles, transfusing blood for the party and state. He said, they probably won't have much control over business decisions in the future. They must comply with the decisions of the CCP. But it's not just private enterprises, like the People's Bank of China. The first thing in its work report this year is to obey the party's command. So it's not just private enterprises wear shackles, and even state-owned enterprises wear shackles, and government agencies also do things with shackles on. Mr. Wu pointed out that because Jack Ma has to consider his family in China, if he were to run away, Beijing would threaten him, using his family's safety. He believes Jack Ma is mainly just cooperating with Beijing to put on a show. Xi Jinping is now using Jack Ma and Alibaba as examples to show his iron fist to others. From now on, China's private entrepreneurs will run if they can, and lie flat, doing nothing as a passive way of resistance if they can't. U.S. launches unprecedented probe into national security risks posed by Chinese cars. Last Thursday, February 22, the White House declared an investigation into the national security risks posed by importing Chinese automobiles, spotlighting concerns over the advanced technology in connected vehicles. This step is part of a broader initiative to preemptively address potential threats. The administration highlighted that these state-of-the-art vehicles are intricately linked to our smartphones, GPS systems, crucial national infrastructure, and even the companies that manufacture them. The probe by the Commerce Department is fueled by worries that Chinese-manufactured vehicles could be harvesting a wide array of personal and critical data from Americans and funneling it directly to the Chinese government. President Biden firmly stated, "I'm not prepared to let China's strategies lead to their vehicles dominating our market, posing a national security risk under my administration." Officials were cautious about forecasting any specific actions but acknowledged the substantial legal authority at the U.S. government's disposal, hinting at significant potential impacts. Biden has pledged to safeguard auto industry jobs and ensure the welfare of middle-class families reliant on the sector. He assured, "Through this initiative and others, we're committed to ensuring that the future of our auto industry is forged by American workers on American soil." Describing the investigation as unprecedented, Biden emphasized its aim to protect U.S. roads from vehicles from China and similarly flagged countries, potentially jeopardizing national security. He has directed the Commerce Department to tackle these risks head-on. The inquiry also covers the possibility of these vehicles being manipulated remotely or disabled, with a particular focus on autonomous vehicles. The Chinese embassy in Washington has retorted to the Biden administration's move for new trade barriers against China, calling for an end to the exaggerated claims of a Chinese threat. A bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers had previously raised alarms in November, as reported by Reuters, about the risks of Chinese firms gathering and processing sensitive data during autonomous vehicle testing in the states. The Commerce Department is set to gather input on the potential dangers posed by Chinese connected cars over the next 60 days before possibly formulating regulations to mitigate these concerns. Additionally, this week's announcement requested manufacturers to disclose details about the software licensing of vehicles assembled in the U.S., underscoring the need to understand the extent of data capture and remote manipulation capabilities of connected vehicles. Let us know your thoughts on today's topic by leaving a comment below. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend. It inspires us to continue creating more quality and reliable content. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more interesting insights from China Truths. Thanks for tuning in.